All right, Kevin. Kevin, I feel bad for you. This is the second week in a row. Last week, we had this conversation with Wynn Claybaugh, and then with the taxman cometh, and then this week, Sydney Berry, and here
Yes.
comes the taxman. So
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row, Tom. You gotta
well,
do something different. But no, that was amazing. That was great. That's not easy to share some of those things, and it was very good.
well, may an apple juice toast to you for sharing some of your wisdom with us. So
Sure.
all right,
sure.
here we are. So this is Light Bulb Moments centered around financial matters and roundtable. And here we are. What today is the 14th. So we're
Yep.
2.5 weeks away from the end of the year. And the end of the year has some meaningful dollar related choices. I mean, this is, there is thousands, tens of thousands, and even hundreds of thousands at play with decisions you can make at year end. And
That's correct.
So you shared some tax tips with us last time. Do you have a favorite one that really, I know that's hard because you have a whole list of things, and
That is hard.
Just some things that you think is important for the majority of people to be aware of.
Right. That's good. It's a good question. It is hard because, as I mentioned last week, everybody's situation is different, and so it's kind of hard to say, well, here's the 2 or 3 things that absolutely you have to do, because everybody's situation is different. It starts with having good information and know where you stand, because it doesn't make sense to do some things if you have no idea if it makes sense to do that. And also looking at the big picture, not just this year, maybe in the next year or two, so you don't do something this year that would hurt what may come down the road. But some of the favorite things is, the biggest things that have the biggest bang for your buck is if you need some fixed asset equipment and those types of things that have a direct current impact on your bottom line, assuming you need and want to reduce your income to reduce your taxes. If you remember at the Phil, you asked if everybody had $1 million, what would they do? Do you remember what the most common response was?
Yeah, it was buy real estate, right?
Buy a building. And that right there is something that has a huge impact, and not only on your help with your taxes, but also, the investment in the retirement benefits of that down the road. So that's something, though, you're not going to necessarily go out and buy a building right between now and December 31st, but that's certainly something, if you don't currently own your own building, to make that a goal is to have sometime in the future and put some things in place to try to do that. Because like we said, almost, I don't know what percentage of the people that mentioned that, but that's what the most common thing that people said that they would do.
Talk to me a little bit about business use of home office, possibly even events at your house, that kind of stuff.
Sure. It's a good question. Several years ago, it used to be a really hot topic and kind of a taboo to do a home office, but that changed several years ago. But a lot of people didn't realize that, or don't take advantage of a home office. It's very tax friendly, if you want to call it that, where the IRS it's not a hot topic focus type of thing. And so you're allowed to, even if you have an office at your place of business, you're allowed to take a home office deduction, and even quote, rent out your house for a party or something like that, or a staff event, and get a deduction for that as well. So if you're not doing a home office deduction, you should consider it.
That alone, in many cases, it may not be like tens or 20s of thousands or whatever, but it's to me, it's kind of some low-hanging fruit for a lot of people.
Yeah, and every little bit helps, for sure.
What about family wages and employing family members in your business? Yeah,
that's another item that a lot of people either aren't aware of or not clear how that works. As business owners, if you have children that are under 18 that you help you do some things around the business, or whether it's home office or at the regular office, and whether they realize this or not, you're going to treat them as a family wage employee. And what that allows you to do is to pay them up to the standard deduction, which that increased, you remember, back a couple of years ago, from around 6,000 up to over 12,000 for individuals. So you can pay these children these family members up to 12,000 a year, and you don't have to pay Social Security, Medicare. That's the nice thing. And then if they have no other income sources, then they would be below the, where they would need to file or owe anything. So that's another great thing, especially if you have 2 or 3 children are in that, 7, 8-year-old range when they're old enough to, mature enough, if you can call it that, up to 18. And that could add up if you have 2 or 3 children in that range.
That's a good
And
one.
use that money to pay for their extracurriculars, their sports and piano lessons and dance lessons and stuff like that.
I want to hit just a couple of areas here
Sure.
with you. Okay. The personal expenses of owners and managers, et cetera, auto, travel, meals, phone, insurance, and most people that will tune in weekly are small business owners, many micro businesses, and looking for any tax advantages they can get. So talk about that a little bit. Personal expenses.
That's another area that sometimes gets overlooked or maybe not maximized to its fullest potential to have the company either pay for or reimburse you for some of these things that kind of have a mixed use. Like your vehicle, cell phone, home internet, things of that nature. And even as you mentioned, the key employees, as a nice benefit to them, give them an auto allowance or cell phone allowance, and things of that nature. And what's nice is it's not taxable to either you or them, because it's basically a reimbursement of business expenses. And so, and even travel and meals and things like that, you can convert a otherwise maybe on the surface, it looks like a personal event or personal expense to a business expense by talking business or going out to see a potential client or whatever the case may be, even when you're on vacation, and allocate a portion of that expense that would normally you wouldn't think about deducting and treat it as a business expense.
Good stuff, Kevin.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
I might still tap into you one more time before the end of the year. Well, take next week off. We'll give you, it's 2 weeks in a row tag on here. But
no, I don't mind at all, because like you said, this is the time of year, because a lot of things you want to try to do and put in place after December 31st aren't an option. There still are some things, but the majority of them aren't an option after December 31st. So like putting a retirement plan in place, and et cetera.
All right, Kevin, thanks for having us.
My pleasure, Tom. Merry Christmas to you and everybody else.
Yeah, I don't know how many of these you have, but we need to send you another one. You're going to have like your whole little wall of.
Yeah, I'll create a display case for him.
You create Kevin's corner, and you show us the corner sometime. So
we'll do.
All right.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, everyone.
All right, I got a few more things for the rest of you before we wrap up here. And okay, let's see where we're at here. I need to. All right. Okay, get your calendar out. I want to go through some dates again here. The final report and the final infographics from the compensation study are soon to be released. We'll be talking about that more later. Again, we have the Phil coming up. Mark those dates, May 21st and through May 23rd. May 21st is really going to be actually light bulb moments. And we should have, I think I saw Sam and Megan on this call, Sam Mercado and Megan Jasper. They should be joining us to present the golden light bulb to at least 2 recipients next year. So anyway, we're super excited about the Phil. Also Money SBO coming up in Minnesota here, and Serious Business in January. We hope to see many of you down there in January. Light Bulb Moments website, again, that's a place where you can submit comments, light bulb moments, suggest a guest. We'd love to hear from you. And again, or if you want to go in the barrel, if you have some issue that you want to unpack in front of your peers, let us know. Closing thoughts is I'm just so grateful that we get to work with such amazing humans like Sydney and Kevin, and it was great to hear the Qnity team get some recognition today. So proud of everything they do. They're great collaborators. And I'm just looking forward to the next 2.5 weeks, connecting with as many of you as possible to tell you how much we love you. And we appreciate working with you and having you part of our community. For those of you that are watching this in YouTube, certainly earmark this one to listen again, because a lot of the words of wisdom from Sydney are worth repeating in the future. So I want to thank you again for joining us. We're wrapping up now, and all the best to you, and hope you have some light bulb moments in the next week. We are off for the next 2 weeks, as Sonia, who's really the producer of Light Bulb Moments, is reminding us. So we're going to see you right after the first of the year. So I guess this is our happy holiday wish to all of you, and wish of gratitude. So happy holidays to all of you and your family. And we hope that you start 2023. My gosh, that's sneaking up on us. We hope you have a very prosperous and successful next year, and we'll see you right after the first of the year. All the best. Thanks again. Bye.